Welcome to the Real Academy, brought to you each Saturday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time by
the Resilience Doctor,
Dr. Sheikah Houston and Dr. Tammy Taylor, best-selling authors, consultants, and speakers of Create and Educate LLC. Create and Educate LLC is an educational consultant and literary firm that provides professional development to schools and community. Their goal is to transform organizations with the REALL resilient framework used to increase their school report card grades 2 and 3 grade levels in 1 year. REALL stands for Respect, Excellence, Accountability, Literacy, and Leadership. This framework is used to coach leaders and teachers and build student efficacy while putting systems in place that aligns the work of the school improvement, making the process manageable. When the work is manageable, teachers and leaders don't stress out or burn out.
The Resilience Doctor.
Alignment systems are designed to help schools evolve and grow, all while instituting protocols and processes designed to promote collaboration and collegiality. The implementation of the alignment framework prevents some of the most common problems in education, where leaders sometimes aren't sure where to start, or in our new age of educating, leaders need a trusted sounding board that allows them to be vulnerable and transparent, preventing loneliness at the top. The framework doesn't just help leaders, but also prevents teachers from burning out from too many initiatives and embracing teachers as they are the experts. Finally, the framework extends to the children, helping them get engaged in school and solving a nationwide problem. Alignment systems are frequently referred to as a key element of success in the improvement process. In the sport of rowing, all rowers must put their oars in the water, succinctly creating a system for their boat to reach maximum speed. So schools that want to improve are bringing in
the Resilience Doctor
to teach them all about the alignment systems that must be in place for school improvement to be accomplished at high levels. The dynamic duo provides insights into educational topics through their international platform, which includes educators, parents, and community members as a way to support important entities that make communities thrive. This is their way to pay it forward and provide the support they needed through their platform. Take a look. People who work with
the Resilience
describe them as
Doctor
an excellent and inspiring group of leaders. They get into the weeds of work with leaders through their TrustMate Institute that you should contact them about today by filling out the contact form on their website.
It's Super Saturday, everyone. Welcome to episode 222 of the Real Academy, brought to you by Create and Educate with your very own Resilience Doctors. I'm Dr. Sheikah Houston.
Good morning, and I am Dr. Tammy Taylor. Welcome, everybody.
Yes, welcome. And if this is your first time tuning in, you may be wondering who are the Resilience Doctors?
And we are super glad you asked. We are best-selling authors, children book authors, award-winning educators, and speakers who transformed our schools with a report card movement of 2 and 3 levels in just a single year.
Absolutely, Tammy. And as senior staff developers for Create and Educate, we are looking to motivate your staff members with the It's Being Done PD, because people have to know that this type of transformation is possible to even get in the mindset to be able to do it. And that actually starts the first step in the school transformation process, that belief. So with this PD, we equip your leadership team and your teachers with the exact tools and resources they need to transform your school. When the work is done at your school, then you will be added to our It's Being Done poster series showing resilience at your school. And we will also invite you to co host an episode of the Real Academy with us to spread the word about the great work that you are doing. The Real Academy, we have been able to impact over 300,000 educators and about 7 million students, and it's all free Fantastic Four PD.
Yes, Shika. And Fantastic Four PD starts off each Saturday that has been deemed as Super Saturday by Principal Kafele. It starts at 10 a.m. with Principal Sean Hurt, who did an outstanding job this morning of helping us understand how to make the report card real with your budget and how to support your work to impact that report card. Thank you for that information, Principal Hurd. And then following him, of course, are Shika and I, yours truly, create and educate in the Real Academy at 10:30. And then at 10:55, we are followed by the Leader's Mentor and the GOAT of all things leadership by Principal Kafele in the AP and New Principals Academy. And then on Sunday, we round out with a podcast with Dr. Marty Moreno and Principal Josh Tovar. And we conclude that with the PGP podcast. So we're asking that you please like, share, subscribe, send stars, make comments, do all of those things that the platform require to help us to build those algorithms. So we say please for that and thank you.
Absolutely. And as you know, we are at the Real Fam shout out and announcements time. So we have a few announcements that I'm going to put up. If you have not been able to catch our Parents as First Teachers new radio show in partnership with WGCD, please tune in on Wednesdays. Now it's live on the radio, so we always post the link. You have to click the link and listen to the live radio stream, but you can do that online. So we post that link every Saturday for you to tune in. This past Wednesday was our holiday episode, so we'll have one more episode coming up this Wednesday as well. So keep tuning in. Let us know what you think. And let me get over here to my slides. And we are days away from Amir's Awakening dropping. So get your tickets for your babies. We actually will send one of these little travel tickets as a bookmark, but get them their tickets so you can take them on an amazing journey in Amir's Awakening to ancient Egypt, him and Jasmine. And we have our very own Black Friday sale. So if you were to purchase Amir's Awakening and the activity guide separately, they're both $24 each, but on our website exclusively, we have a 15% off Black Friday sale. So you can get both for $40. So we hope that you make sure you get these great stocking stuffers for your babies, your children, your nieces, your nephews. And as Principal Kafele says, Amir's Awakening is also great for adults. So please
Yes,
go to the website and get your books.
you're really going to enjoy it. It is absolutely um, an incredible journey.
It is. And we're not just saying that because we wrote it. It really
No, it really is fun to read.
is. So that brings us to Real Fam shout out time. Thank you for joining us, Mr. AP Patrick Lawrence from Connecticut, our sister out in Pearl, Mississippi, Constance Sherrod, and she keeps us promoted over there on LinkedIn. Thank you for joining us. Mr. David Bell, Grand Rising in Benton Harbor, Michigan. Queen Jasmine Harris out on the West Coast. Thank you for joining us. Miss Kenna Rowland, thank you for joining us. Queen Arcella Ostry, thank you for joining us. Miss Stacy L. Joy, also on the West Coast, thank you for joining us. And Chancellor Rashard Davis out in Las Vegas, West Coast as well. Thank you for joining us. Principal Josh Tovar, and also our brother in the work. I'll be joining Josh and co-hosting with him tomorrow, so I'm excited about that. Our promoter of all the platforms, Principal Coach Dot McKeever Jeter. She is the promoter of all platforms, and we so appreciate her. And let me get down to where we are. September, Devance Vance Daniels, thank you for joining us. Dr. Joe Griffin also doing this work. We appreciate you joining us, brother, and you've been on fire on your episodes as well. Dr. Melissa Jones Chunu, thank you for joining us. And she did an awesome job co-hosting with Josh last week. The GOAT is here, Principal Kafele, by way of Philadelphia. So thank you for joining us. Miss Renee Green, one of our very own by way of Fairfield. I think does she live in Fairfield or Columbia?
She lives in Fairfield
Fairfield.
County.
Okay.
Mhm.
Thank you for joining us. And it was good seeing you the other day, Miss Green. And let's see, we got Trinika joining us, Barnett, Dr. Edwin Garcia joining us, and we appreciate each and every one of you. You all could be doing multiple things, but you are intentional about being here with us on Saturdays, and we do not take that lightly. Our real comment from episode 221, where we talked about quiet quitting part 3. This is where we discuss students quietly quitting. So our real comment comes from Dr. Edwin Garcia, and he said the key to reaching students isn't just in teaching a specific program, but the skills. Conceptual understanding is important, not just following steps. And that was exactly the point of that video that we showed. We are not in the age where we're just regurgitating rote information to children. The number one reason why people get fired from their jobs is because they can't get along with others. So, as much as children can work in teams, as much as they can go through problem solving, the design process together, the more intrigued they will be, the more prepared for solving real problems on the job they'll be as well. So, we really have to take a good long look at our curriculum. So if you missed that episode, please go back and catch the replay on Facebook, YouTube, or LinkedIn. We are live on all 3 platforms. And that brings us to episode 222, The Right Work for Assistant Principals. And you all know that Tammy and I, we are not the bag ladies, but we unpack bags. So we are going to unpack this before we really delve down into it. And so I want to start with, you know, I think everything is relative, and you have to really look at this from the right context when you're talking about the right work for assistant principals, because you have to understand where everyone is in their process. So I'm going to start from my experience as a new principal, having 2 assistant principals. When you are a new principal, and if you are an assistant principal who is working for a brand new principal, do not walk in the door thinking, all right, so I know this assistant principal stuff. When they going to start preparing me to be a principal? Because the first thing a new principal is doing is learning how to be a principal. And I have been in some interviews where people were interviewing for an assistant principal position. And before we could even get to the questions, they were asking me, oh, well, um, so when am I going to be able to walk around with you to learn how to be a principal? And I'm thinking, well, do you want to be an assistant principal or you want to be a principal? We in the right interview? What we doing? And so, all of that part is relative. You have to have the right context. It has to be at the right time. And if you are an assistant principal who has been an assistant principal for some time and you're ready to move into that new phase of learning to be the principal, then I think you need to make sure you're working for a principal who probably has some years under their belt. So keep all of that in mind as you approach your journeys. And I'm gonna let you jump in here, Tammy, as we continue the conversation.
Yes, and I think that is important, Shika, to make sure that we're able to contextualize what the situation calls for, because my new principalship was even different than yours. You were at least familiar with where you were. I was
Mm-hmm.
in a different space and place. And so I was learning people, learning the building, I was learning the community, just lots of different things. And so I needed time and space to be able to develop myself as I am trying to navigate what's going on. And I knew at that time I couldn't um, just forget that there was an assistant principal who also needed to be cultivated. So you really have to be able to navigate your particular context when you are thinking about what that should look like. And honestly, I think it we should give space and time to the consideration of the school size, what the
Mm-hmm.
district's priorities are. All of these things are an important part of figuring out what that role of assistant principal needs to look like in that particular context. And the bottom line to me always goes back to what you want as an assistant principal to be able to say that you're there to do is to
Mm-hmm.
support the principal in leadership. That's instructional leadership, management, ensuring that students are success, creating the kind of climate that you want to operate in, connecting with the vision that the principal has for the school.
Mm-hmm.
So just learning how to be the best wingman you can be. Like I need a Robin. I'm
Right.
Batman. I need me a Robin who's gonna be there with me. Because at this point we are the superheroes, and we are gonna have to be the dynamic duo.
Exactly. And I'm gonna put this comment back up, Brandon, that Stacy put up. It's similar to when new teachers ask me how to pursue national board certification. You ain't ready. And so, as soon as you walk in the door, and you'll have some. I've heard some new assistant principals saying things like, "Oh well, all I'm doing is discipline, and I'm doing the buses and the butts." You got to slow your roll a little bit. That is a part of the assistant principalship. And you may be doing that for a few minutes depending upon where your principal is in their process. If they are also new to the principalship, they're learning. So what you're going to have to do is learn your part, learn how to be the best supporter of that vision and implementer of that vision. And like you said, Tammy, that best dynamic duo that you can be first before you start stepping into, oh, well, they're not showing me this, or they're not telling me this, or they're not telling me that. And half the time, they're
They don't
thinking
know
through
you.
those things for the first time themselves. So, I do want everybody to just slow down a little bit. It's a marathon, it's not a race. And when you come into things from the standpoint of you're very critical of your principal as they are navigating that, that also gives an attestment to your leadership abilities, because that tells me that you can't read the room. Because somebody who's able to ascertain certain things, that is what makes you a good leader, because when it will be time to go to the next step, or do the next process. So
And
I
I
just
think one thing too, Shika, for you to just put a pin in to just drop this footnote. Even
mhm,
if you're with a seasoned principal, you can count on the principal knowing what is going to be best for the school. And if you don't agree with what's going on where the principal is, while you're in the assistant principalship, your role is to help to assist the principal. Because what happens is when people see that you aren't in support, just like you said, Shika, that becomes a question mark in the back
Mm-hmm.
of their minds about, okay, now what exactly is happening? Because whether we believe it or not, and I've had this conversation before with my assistant principal, people are watching to see what it looks like.
Mm-hmm.
How are our interactions? Because believe it or not, they take their lead from the way we synergize.
Exactly. And they're wanting to see if there's that place to be able to divide and conquer, because a lot of people come into things sometimes for the wrong reasons. So if you are an assistant principal, just make sure that you're not on this fast track thing where, sometimes, as I'll relate this to women and how sometimes the society has this expectations that I don't believe in or sign on to. Oh, you've graduated from college, you got your list. When you get married, when you having a baby, you got a baby when you having the next baby. So, don't come into the assistant principalship with this ideology of, okay, I'm on that. I've done 5 years as a teacher. Now I'm 3 years as assistant principal. Now I've got to be a principal in 3 years. We ain't on that timeline. You've got to make sure that you are coming into this with a vision to support your principal, to help these children, to help the community, and put your timeline in your pocket, because
Yes.
we might not even be on that timeline. So, just make sure that everything is done in the right context and that it is relative to where you are and who you are working with.
Yes.
So, and we know this gonna be a two-parter because y'all know how we unpack a bag. We had to unpack that before we get to the things that really makes the right work for the assistant principal. So for starting off as the assistant principal, I wanted to make sure that my assistant principals did have experience leading. They saw my experience as leading the building where I had my newsletter, I had my communication plan, but I made sure my assistant principals were over a grade level. So a lot of the things that you see me doing for the school, now we're going to scaffold this down. You, as the assistant principal, are doing these things for your grade level. And so when we talk about preparing them for the right work at the right time, you do want to put in those opportunities for them to be able to lead and do some of the things that they're seeing the principal do on a smaller scale. And I'll let you jump in here, Tammy, before we get ready to end.
Yeah, I'll just say again, it makes a difference, and you have to remember the context. In a
Mm-hmm.
school that's small, you may not have a grade level that you can assign the AP2. But what that looks like there is all of those things that she could just mentioned are a part of what is demonstrated by the leader. You're demonstrating all these things, and these are the things that happen when you are within your leadership team meetings, not
Mm-hmm.
necessarily your entire instructional leadership team, but for sure your leadership team with your administration team, so that you all are on the same page and you're talking through these things and explaining, because some things have to be extrapolated more than others, of course, but you
Mm-hmm.
can explain and make sure that they even understand why this is necessary. Why do we do this? And this is what I hope to gain from ensuring that communication is clear throughout the building, throughout the school, with parents, with students, because the clearer the communication, the better we are with making sure we're all working toward that same goal, which again is the bottom line of why we're all there, to make sure that we're providing quality educational experiences for our kids. So just working in partnership, and when you're working in tandem, it becomes a natural part of the way, not that you two just interact with each other, but again with the entire dynamic of the school.
Absolutely. So we will do a part two to this and give you more strategies next Saturday. But please log on next with Principal Kafele. I saw where he put he's back home from Philly now. So join him next with his guest. And then on Sunday, join Josh and myself on PGP Podcast. I'm just filling in for Dr. Marty Moreno. And then back here on Super Saturday, starting off with Principal Sean Hurt and yours truly. He starts off at 10 and we are create and educate at 10:30. And then also Super Saturday includes Principal Kafele, of course, the GOAT. So please join him next and we will see you all back here, same time, same place next Saturday. Thank you.
And happy Thanksgiving, y'all.
Absolutely.